जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज विहारी गोपी जनवल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदनन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जन यशोदनन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जन यमुनातीरावनचारि यमुनातीरावनचारि जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज विहारी हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितां येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टां स्थापितां येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदामह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Good morning everyone. We will be reading from the 10th canto, chapter 44 today, from the first to the fifth verse. I can share my screen so we can all look at the verses together. It's the 44th chapter. The chapter's title is called The Killing of Kamsa. So this is coming to the climax. Since the time Krishna appeared, Kamsa has been after him, and now finally the confrontation is going to take place in this chapter between the Lord and Kamsa. Shri Shuka Uvacha Evam Charchita Sankalpo Bhagavan Madhusudanaha Asasadhata Chanuram Asadata Chanuram Mushtikam Rohini Sutaha. Shukdev Goswami said, thus addressed, Lord Krishna made up his mind to accept the challenge. He paired off with Chanura and Lord Balram with Mushtika. These are Kamsa's hitmen. Next verse. Hastabhyam hastayor bhadva padabhyam evacha padayo vichakara satur anyonyam prasahya vijigishaya. Seizing each other's hands and locking legs with each other, the opponents struggled powerfully, eager for victory. Aratni dve aratnibhyam janubhyam chaiva januni shiraha snora sorastav anyonyam abhijagnatu. They each struck fists against fists, knees against knees, head against head, and chest against chest. The word aratni in this verse may indicate the elbow as well as the fist. Thus, blows were perhaps also struck with the elbow, a technique seen today in various martial arts. Number 4. Paribhramana vikshepa paribhrambhava patanai utsarpana pasarpanaish shanyonyam pratyarundatam. Each fighter contended with his opponent by dragging him about in circles, shoving and crushing him, throwing him down and running before and behind him. Srila Sridhar Swami explains that the word pariramba indicates crushing one's opponent with one's arms. And the last verse. Uttapanair unayanaish chalanai stapanair api parasparam jigis santa apachakratur atmanaha. Forcefully lifting and carrying each other, pushing each other away and holding each other down. The fighters hurt even their own bodies in their great eagerness for victory. Short purport. Srila Jiva Goswami explains that although Krishna and Balram did not, of course, harm themselves, it appeared that way to Chanura, Mushtika, and others of mundane vision. In other words, the lords were fully absorbed in the pastime of being wrestlers. So this is so here we see ye yatha mam prapadyante, this verse in the Gita, which says that everyone is searching for Krishna, but Krishna reciprocates with our intention, with our desire, with the way we want to serve him. And in this case, we see that the wrestlers are wanting to engage in fighting with Krishna, and Krishna is also reciprocating with them in that way. When like one of the reasons why Krishna says of him coming to the world, to this material world, is yada yada hi dharmasya glanirбhavati bharata abhyuthanam adharmasya. So he's saying like to establish religion, establish the pious people, and to destroy the irreligious, destroy the demons. So like in this 10th canto, we see that's been happening all along, with starting with Putana, like demons have been coming one after the other, one after the other. They're all being sent by Kamsa. And now finally, like the encounter with Kamsa will also take place. So in that verse, like Yatamam Prapadyante, Prabhupada says that like for someone, like the Krishna is partially realized in their impersonal, in their Brahmajyoti form. And he's also partially realized as a super soul dwelling within everything, including the atoms. But Krishna is realized fully only by his pure devotees. And Krishna reciprocates with the pure devotees even when the pure devotees are so-called in the material world. Like we see how Prabhupada would speak to the deities. There have been incidents related by his disciples that when Prabhupada would go up to the altar, like he'll be speaking, the disciple can hear Prabhupada speak, but they cannot hear when Krishna is responding to Prabhupada. But Prabhupada can hear them. So we see, like for a pure devotee, Krishna is reciprocating with them even when they are here amongst us. So it depends upon our own purity, our own intention, our own desire to serve, how Krishna will ultimately reciprocate with us. And like I mentioned earlier, like Krishna has 5 kinds of primary rasas, like 5 kinds of exchanges that he has, that he likes to have with his devotees. Like it's either as a servant, that's the lowest level. Then on a higher level is as a friend. Then so it's Shanta. No, sorry. First is as a on a neutral level, then as a servant, then as a friend, then as a parent, and finally as a intimate lover. And then there are secondary rasas also, through which Krishna engages, through which Krishna reciprocates. It's called laughing, wonder, chivalry or chivalry, pity, anger, ghastliness, and devastation. So in this case, it's anger and devastation. Like Kamsa and his men are seeing this side of Krishna. And Krishna wants to also explore these rasas within him. And that's why he creates these circumstances where he gets to engage in wrestling, in fighting with the demons, in even fighting with Bhishma Dev, actually, where the rasa of chivalry was experienced by Krishna and even by his dear devotee in that case. But in the case of Hiranyakashipu, we see like it was ghastliness and devastation. Like Nrsimhadev showed his, Krishna showed his extremely angry form, and finally there was devastation of Hiranyakashipu. And so ultimately, like we are trying to connect with Krishna, and so Krishna is supremely perfect. But whenever we feel proud about ourselves, about our own accomplishments, or our own realizations, or our ability to speak, for example, Krishna tends to hide himself from such a situation. Like recently, we saw the pastime with the gopis, when the gopis became proud about them having the association of Krishna. Krishna chooses to withdraw from the pastime, chooses to disappear, and so thus Krishna is constantly teaching us humility. Like that is the main quality, like what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Trinadapi Sunichena Tarori Vasahishnana Mani Naman Adena Kirtani Sadhari. to be more tolerant than a blade of grass, than a more humble than a blade of grass, more tolerant than a tree, and offering all respects to others and expecting none in return. So to the extent that we can become dependent upon Krishna and not be falsely dependent upon our own abilities, our own strength or intelligence or beauty, to that extent, Krishna will also reveal himself and disclose himself. And the more we can understand that we are ultimately a part of Krishna, the more we can understand that even others, like the people around us, and even the people who we have difficult relationships with, which are many, because we have such a big false ego that I tend to find fault amongst literally everyone or almost everyone. And so that's a manifestation of the false ego. But when we see that we are a part of Krishna, that like we in chapter 42, like 2 chapters before, there was a pastime of Kubja, and how Krishna lifted her when, like, she was a hunchback woman who was selling scented oils, and Krishna put his toe on her toe, and by his finger he just lifted her chin, and her hunchback became straight. And so like Radhanath Swami, in this, like in one of the classes which I heard while preparing, he says like we are all kubjas in our own way. Like we all have crooked backs, we have crooked intentions, crooked tendencies, crooked minds, fault finding inclinations, to a greater degree or a lesser degree. We can answer that question to ourselves. And it's just the weight of our ego which is making us crooked, and we want to exploit, to enjoy, and we have the tendency to become angry, become lusty, envious. We are covered by illusion. And when we see that we are a part of Krishna, even others are a part of Krishna, then how can we try to first seek Krishna's help to have a straight back, and how can we also serve others in helping them have a straight back, so they can finally come into their, like after that incident, like Krishna, like Kubja was so beautiful that she became so intimately attracted to Krishna. That is the potential which lies in all of us. But at this point, we have our false ego, which is sort of like holding us back, which is holding us down, basically. And the way out of this is Krishna himself. He says in the Gita, like it's Bhaktyamam abhijanati yavan yaschasmi tattvata. Like it's through the process of bhakti, through the process of devotional service, through trying to render devotional service at every moment, wherever we are, at work, at home, with the devotees, traveling. Like how can we remember Krishna? Can we chant his names? Can we hear something from our gurus, from Prabhupada? Can we offer some service to others? Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he says, like Jiva Daya. So there is always opportunity to serve the souls in this world, and we serve them like Adi Purush Prabhu, he does like thrice a week, and I'm sure even more than that. That serving the poor, the destitute people, or even a mother might just need help to carry her child's stroller up the subway stairs, so we can also do that, and even that can be done as a service to Krishna. Like, oh Krishna, I offer this to you. This is another of your fellow children, and let me help her as a way to please you ultimately. Coming back to this pastime, like we see that Kamsa considered Krishna as a threat, as a competitor. Like from the time he heard the Akashvani, the divine voice in the sky, the celestial voice in the sky, he's been thinking of his enemy Krishna, and that's been driving him crazy. And like Maharaj Parikshit, when he came to know that he has 7 days to live, it did not bother him. Like he was so surrendered to Krishna that he said, okay, I've done what I had to do. Now let me just surrender to the great souls, hear and chant Krishna's names, and let him take care of me. Whereas with Kamsa, like he had much longer, like it was the prophecy was like the eighth child. So it wasn't the eighth child wasn't going to come in 7 days. He had a lot more. He had almost 8 years. So he had that much more time to surrender to Krishna, to become absorbed in hearing and chanting Krishna's names. So in the Gita, Krishna says like Brahma, Bona, Loka, Punar, Avarti, Arjuna. So from the highest planet in the material world to the lowest, all are places of mystery, like all are places of birth, death, old age, and disease. And death is certain. It's only that when is it going to happen is uncertain. Radhanath Maharaj, he frequently quotes this verse, Padam Padam Yat Vipadam Natesham. Like there is danger at every step. Prabhupada would say, like, my greatest concern or my greatest fear, like I'm paraphrasing it with my disciples, like they are not sufficiently afraid of Maya. My disciples are not sufficiently afraid. So we think like, oh, life is okay. We can go about. There's a war happening in the Middle East. There's a war happening in Ukraine. But we here in the United States are okay. No, I mean, like death has so many ways to approach us. We should, of course, we pray for all the people who are suffering around us and use this time when things are okay to really invest in our sadhana, in our seva, in our relationships with the devotees, and becoming a humble servant of the servant of the servant. One more example is of Maharaj Katwanga. Like he came to know that he only had one instant to live. Like he had served the demigods by fighting against the demons. And when he came to know that he only had a moment to live, he did not complain like, oh, I've done so much service for the demigods. Like I need more time to live. I need more time to enjoy. He was like, okay, this is it. Then I'll surrender to my Lord. I'll surrender to Krishna. So let us, like Vaisheshika Prabhu says, like many times we have this regret, oh, I wish I had come to Bhakti more sooner. Oh, I wish I had known these things earlier. I wish I had met the devotees much earlier. But Maharaj, like Vaisheshika Prabhu, he calls this like the Katwanga moment. Okay, now that we know, let us not worry about like what has happened in the past. Like from this moment on, let us surrender. Let this become a step towards more complete surrender in our lives. And in this pastime, we see, I'll just briefly share about like who Kamsa is. Like in his previous life, there was a demon, like he was a demon called Kalanemi, and Vishnu had killed him. But and then Shukracharya gave him Sanjeevani. Like Sanjeevani is this herb which is used to bring someone back from the dead. And after that, he did a lot of tapasya. And after tapasya, he became the son of Ugrasen and Padmavati. And from childhood, he was very fond of wrestling. It is said that the elephant Kolyapida, who was killed by Krishna and Balram in the previous chapter, like before, how did he end up serving Kamsa was even this elephant had a previous life. Like I heard in a class from I'm forgetting his name. I'll try to remember. This is a devotee from the Chowpatty community too. Vishwarup Prabhu, I'm sorry. So he has this pastime of Kolyapida. Like in his previous life, he was the son of Mahabali, like Bali Maharaj, and he was going in a Rath Yatra for Lord Ranganath. And while going in the Rath Yatra, he was so proud that he was the son of the king that he was bumping into people. And there was a sage amongst the throngs of devotees who were participating in the Rath Yatra. His name was Trita Muni. And when he bumped into the sage got angry. That the sage cursed him, like, you're walking like an elephant. You're just walking to and fro. You don't have any control over your gait. And he cursed this person. His name was Mandagati, that you will have the strength of 100,000 elephants. You'll take birth as an elephant and you'll have the strength of 100,000 elephants. And as soon as he got this curse, Mandagati regretted his action, and he asked the sage Tritamuni for forgiveness. And the sage said, like, see, the curse which I've given has already been said, been verbalized, but you will have the good fortune of dying. You'll get the touch of Lord Krishna, and that's how you'll die. So in his next birth, he takes birth as Kulyapida. And Kulyapida, while Jarasandha was practicing in his younger days to become a wrestler, he tried to attack Jarasandha. And Kulyapida was he tried to attack Kamsa, and Kamsa easily defeats him. And all these demons like Chanura, Mustika, and all the other asuras who were working on behalf of Kamsa, they were all defeated by him. And that's how Kamsa had them surrender to him. And he was using them against Krishna. And in the previous chapter, we see like how Krishna and Balram, they easily kill Kovalyapida. This I'll just quickly jump over, like when Krishna and then finally in this section of the verses, we see like how they are fighting with Chanura and Mustika. When Krishna lifts the Govardhan hill, the cowherd boys, they think like Mother Yashoda, she thinks like, oh, I fed Krishna this nice milk. That's how he became so strong to lift Govardhan hill. But Krishna's friends, his boyfriends, they say like, oh, no. It is because we played wrestling with him when we were out in the pasturing grounds. That's how Krishna got the practice to become a good wrestler. And in the gopis, they say like in Bandiravan, this is one of the forests, like Radha and the gopis, they would wrestle with Krishna. And Krishna would go there alone because he knew that he's going to be defeated by the gopis and Radharani, and he didn't want his boyfriends to come and become embarrassed. So the gopis think like, oh, because we've trained Krishna, that is why he's become so good at wrestling. So we get to see like even in this situation how the devotees are looking at Krishna's skills, and they are connecting with their own personal relationship with him. Yeah, I'll try to wrap up. There's like a few more things which I wanted to share. Yeah, in this pastime, like just briefly, like Krishna, as he is going through this pastime, they said that Krishna is also sweating. Like even when Arjuna is trying to kill Bhishma Dev in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, his hair becomes loose. There is dust on him. Bhishma Dev is shooting arrows at him, and there is like drops of blood which is on Krishna's body. In this pastime with Chanura and Mustika, again he's sweating, his hair is scattered, he's covered with dust. It is not because like Krishna is artificially doing it, because he's so absorbed in the virya ras, in the rasa, in the pastime of being a wrestler, in the pastime of fighting with the demons, that all these things are automatically happening to him. And in this way, he's so absorbed that Krishna himself is not disturbed, but the demons like Chanura and Mustika, the wrestlers, they feel like, oh, Krishna is growing tired, like he's sweating, his hair is scattered. So look at us, like Krishna is having to make so much endeavor to fight with us. It is not so easy. It is not like he's not able to just walk over us. But for Krishna, it is never a problem. Like he's the Supreme Lord, so he can do anything to anyone at any time. Yeah, to conclude, like Kamsa had this fear in his heart, like from the time he heard the celestial voice. And Radhanath Maharaj, he says, like the real strength is to rise above fear. And the real strength can only come when we humble ourselves before God, before Krishna. And arrogance means we are holding on to our ego identity. But when we let go of that, or at least even if we incrementally let go of it, it's not easy to let go of it completely. Even if we incrementally let go of it, we are approaching Krishna that much, by that much degree. And even we can see within our own hearts these demoniac tendencies of envy, lust, greed, pride, anger, illusion. We can, like, it's not just Chanura and Mustika, like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he says that we as living entities are somewhere in between Hiranyakashipu and Prahlad Maharaj. So we have these demoniac tendencies even within our own hearts, as ugly as they are, as hard as it is to confront them, to see them. But by praying to Krishna, and especially in this month of Kartik, by praying, by offering a lamp, we can we can ask for his help, ultimately for Radharani's mercy, to become free of our false ego. And one final point, because it is Kartik, like these big wrestlers like Chanura and Mustika, when Krishna and Balram are fighting with them, they are laughing. They are the least bit scared with these wrestlers, with Kamsa, with all the demons. But when Krishna was chased by Mother Yashoda and she only had a small stick in her hand, he is so scared. He's crying. He's asking her, please don't hit me. Please don't hit me. Please put that stick down. We see, like, because of the power of love of Mother Yashoda, and she's a woman, and these wrestlers are these big men who have, it's described like some of their arms are, they are as strong as 10,000 elephants. Their arms have that much strength. Krishna is not scared of them, but Krishna is scared of Mother Yashoda. So it's the power of love, it's the power of devotion, which actually brings Krishna under our control. Like we are not trying to control him, but Krishna, out of his own Swarat, he's completely independent. Out of his own free will, he comes under the control of his devotees, of his dear devotees. So we are ultimately trying to serve Krishna, to please him, to please Prabhupada, to please our Guru, to please Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And thus ultimately become Gopi Bhartul Padakamali or Dasa 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 Anudas. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Balakrishna Prabhu. Wonderful class, as always. Thank you. Would anyone like to share a reflection or maybe ask a question? Especially the temple room, especially Mother Rukmini.
Hare Krishna. Sorry, Mother Rukmini, I didn't see you there.
Unmute yourself, Adipurusha Prabhu.
Thank you so much. It was very interesting to hear your comparison between Mother Yasoda and Shanura and Mustika. Krishna's fear itself is intimidated by Krishna, but Krishna is intimidated by fear of Mother Yasoda. So it's not how much big brain or brawn you have, but Krishna's bound only by devotion. So that was very beautiful. I was thinking actually at the beginning of your class about Champak Lata, and how when she first read Bhagavad Gita, she thought, oh, this is a story about war and fighting. And I'm not interested in war and fighting. I'm interested.
I thought it was a history book.
Yeah, she thought it was a history, like a war, like the art of war or something. And she put it down because she thought, I'm not interested in war and fighting and all this stuff. So Krishna has so many flavors of relationships to attract so many different kinds of people. The soft and gentle ones like Champak Lata, and the ones who like to fight, and the ones who like to be neutral.
Like who?
Like the ones who like to be neutral, like the yogis, they can be in a sense of wonder. So, yeah, wonderful Krishna. So many different facets. Some people are attracted by prasadam, by Adi Purusha Prabhu distributing prasadam on the Lower East Side, and that's their entree into bhakti. So Krishna's so magical, right? Krishna has so many secret weapons of attraction. So thank you so much. That was beautiful.
Thank you, Rukmini Devi Prabhu. Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Tina has her hand up. Let Tina speak. Tina?
Hare Krishna, thank you. Thank you, Prabhu, for the class. I haven't been speaking much, but I wanted to take the moment. Can you hear me? Am I
Yes.
audible? Okay. I wanted to reflect a little about the false ego because, I've been pursuing this path since my early 20s. And, now that I'm a mother, I would say, at first it was hard for me to release false ego, and then it became very easy. But then when I transitioned into Grahastha life as a mother, as the primary caretaker of my daughter, my false ego came back hard, because it's like a new relationship, it's like it's like I'm not sure if it's it's obviously because of my anarthas, but it's like this urge to protect, and to guide and to cover, and so you like taking this position here, to protect my Narayani, from this world, from the oppression of this world in this black body specifically, this woman black body. My daughter, she will be a black woman one day, right? So it's like what I'm saying is that what I've learned is that, as we release the false ego, it's like cyclical cycles of just like healing. It's done in cycles, I don't think it's like a one size fit all, but with mothering, I find my group that told me this is going to be hard. Oh, okay, this is going to be hard. And, I would like to hear more about the false ego with parenting and, encountering like, Maya in this way, because like you said, we're too entangled. We're not afraid enough of Maya, and I see how this is like a very intricate web for me, especially now that I am, my daughter, she is 3 now, and she's in school now, and just it's just crazy, like it's wild. But I don't know if I'm making any sense, but I guess what I'm saying is that like I see it, but I'm kind of more interested in hearing more about like parenting in Maya with attempting to align and be a devotee and raise a devotee, and how we can like overcome all of it, because it's really like a cyclical cycle. I wouldn't say it's a cycle, but of healing. So, you're kind of raising, but you're still going up and down and up and down, and it's like, how do we do it? Yeah. So Hare Krishna. Thank you. Very inspiring class for sure. 100%. Thank you.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. I will answer it briefly, but I would rather prefer Mother Rukmini. Like Rukmini Mataji, I hope she can elaborate. Like she's mothered children, and she's mothered many devotees, so she can speak with a lot more experience. But just one very brief comment. The false ego is like an onion. It's like peeling layers upon layers upon layers, and sometimes we think like we've let go of something, we've gotten rid of something, but after, in a different circumstance, the same flavor of false ego again becomes visible. So it takes a lot of time, actually. Oh, Rukmini Mataji, please.
Adipusha Prabhu, unmute, please. It's very important. Okay, good.
Haribol, Dina, thank you for your very introspective thoughts about protecting your child in this material world. And I would say that, that mother kind of bhava is, fearing for your child, and it's a love that Prabhupada compares, that a mother's love is the closest thing to God's love in this world. So to me, it doesn't so much bring up false ego, but it brings up like a fierce tiger mom kind of love that's very important to protect children in the city, in any city, in New York City. But, I think the best thing is to be a nice tiger mom, taking shelter of Krishna. And, like Prabhupada also gave the example, one devotee was asking him, well, how can we be so enthusiastic to distribute books and at the same time be so humble at the temple? And he said, you should be like a lion on the chase and a lamb at home. So you can be a tiger mom in protecting your child, but then also you can be like a lamb in loving your child. And I think the best thing that would come up for me is that teach your daughter that there is danger at every step in this world, but we can take shelter of Krishna, and Krishna will always protect us. There's one story about Yamuna Devi, that she was walking down the street in San Francisco. She was walking down the street in San Francisco, and a bunch of guys surrounded her, and like there was a fear that they were going to attack her. And she had a very strong voice that she used for singing. That was like the lamb example. But in this situation, she used that strong voice like a lion, and she just shouted out, Lord Nrsimhadev! Like that. And they all ran away. So I think that's the best thing, You can be like a tiger mom trying to protect your child, but also be like a lamb mom, loving your child, and always teach your child to take shelter of Krishna, because there is danger at every step. Yet vipadam natesha. In this world there's danger at every step. So that's the best instruction I think a mother can give. So I hope that's a little bit helpful, Dina. Very nice point.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mother Rukmini. Nima Prabhu has his hand up.
Is that Jamuna Jaya there?
No,
Yeah.
Wow, look at that. Jamuna Jaya, Arjuna Prabhu, Champakalata. Wow.
So
I should
happy
have been there.
Rukmini.
Give some realization about how to protect children.
Oh, I loved your about the lion. Anybody that knows me knows that I have a mother that is most fierce, and though she's 95 years old, she, if anybody were to hurt a hair on this head, she would rise up somehow. But I always think my mother, and I didn't realize it until I was older. So sometimes I think for people that have children that are in their teenagers and they think their children are walking away, they're not listening. They are. They are. It just takes them sometimes to come back. And I realized that when I came to this path, while having discipline and why seva seems so natural to me, because I was taught that by both of my parents. My parents, their church was their center, their church and their children. And so when I came to this path, it was perfectly normal. I would see them setting up for Catholic dances, and the same thing we do with festivals. And I would see them spending every moment, and even to this day, my mother's eyesight isn't very good, but she says, as long as she goes, I don't need my sight to see God.
Wow.
And she spends all of her time doing her rosary and listening to Lord Jesus. And I feel like in that way she's still protecting me, because she's showing me the way. And she's also, we all know that what we do, our practices protect the generations around us. And so I think of that too with my mom. I think my practices are protecting my mom and my family, and she's still protecting me in this way. So
Can you give a realization about being a black woman? Because Dina was concerned that her daughter, her little 3-year-old daughter, one day is going to be a grown-up black woman in the city. So can you share some?
It's interesting because things have walked backwards a little bit from the outside world, and that from when I was growing up to now, I think things are a little bit different. But and again, something I was taught by my parents is they right from the beginning, reminded me of what Dr. King said, that we don't want to be judged by the color of the skin, but the content of our character. And my parents always made sure that that was the paramount thing about who you actually are, and that shines through. Because really, this is the furthest thing away from what we really are. It literally is the furthest thing away from where you are. And so the content of your character really just shines through, and to know that about yourself, no matter what anybody says. Yeah, so I appreciate it. I was just coming to beat everybody.
That was so beautiful. So beautiful.
Such beautiful exchanges of love. It's so inspiring. We feel sheltered by Krishna.
Thank you, Rukmini Mataji. Thank you, Jamuna.
Thank you, Jamuna Jaya. Yes. Dr. King said that we're trying to build the beloved community. So that's what's going on here at the Bhakti Center, trying to build the beloved community. So thank you for all the building blocks of community.
Now for the main event.
Nice. Okay. Turn on your cameras, dear devotees, if you can. Stand up. Jeffrey Eckler Prabhu. It was like 10,000 elephants.
In one little body.
What did you say, 10,000 what?
10,000 elephants.
It's like a conch shell blowing before the wrestling match.
Yes. Yay.
We couldn't hear that, Adi Purusha Prabhu. You should wrestle Big John. All right. Okay, Bhima Prabhu has something to say. Bhima Prabhu? No? You just throwing your hands up and surrender?
Well, I was going to speak as a mother, but then I realized I wasn't. So all I can say, if she's still on, is trust your instinct and throw your mind to the wind. Just trust your instinct. Your instinct will never let you down. Krishna has already determined your dharma. And if you just surrender to that and don't overthink things as far as raising your child, and I think it was Mother Rukmini said, be a devotee, and that will be enough to show her the path, which way to go by. If she sees that you're happy, then she'll follow your path and be happy. All you have to do is show our children that we're happy and fulfilled in what we do, and they'll follow us. No matter how much we instruct them, if we're not happy, they won't follow us. That's all I got to say. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Bhima
Wow,
Prabhu.
that was deep. Thank you, Bhima Prabhu. Thank you for that. Thank you.
Bhima.
Yeah, there's danger at every step, but for us as devotees, at every step, there is Krishna. Right? So it's both. Okay, have a wonderful day. It was nice spending this time with you. Love you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhyascha patitanam pavanebhyo.
Vanchakalpa to you, Balaji Prabhu, Balakrishna Prabhu. Wonderful class. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Thank you.